Thank you, Paul. Let's go back to our leading story now on the latest developments in the Northwest Province. We're very pleased to welcome in studio ANC National Spokesperson, Mr. Pule Mabe. Mr. Mabe, good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us.
No, afternoon and afternoon to your viewers.
Pule, a very busy afternoon for you, I can tell, but do tell us, is the main body of the ANC aware of the latest developments out in the Northwest?
Well, what I can tell you is that as we follow through the developments happening in the province, what is going to be happening is that our own National Working Committee and ultimately the NEC would be sitting, and in those meetings of the relevant structures of the ANC, reports would be received on the work and the developments in the Northwest Province. I'm sure it's only safe and suffices to say that let us allow those structural engagements to also take place so that the ANC can fully express itself. Absolutely. And be able to convey and communicate its position. But
wasn't that the message on Tuesday that Premier Mahumapelo was going to resign? Wasn't that a decision that had already been taken by those bigger structures and of course had to be filtered down to the provincial structures?
Well, you would remember that the position that the relevant structure, because structures would mean the NEC as well.
Yes.
The relevant structure being the National Working Committee, which has got the constitutional mandate to deal with the day-to-day running of the ANC and its affairs, had met. The message that came out of that, which was conveyed to the public, was that the NWC had recommended that the officials, the officials should have an engagement with the Premier of the province, who's also the Chairperson of the ANC, to look into the best possible way to resolve the impasse in the province.
So he wasn't necessarily
be able to then report to the subsequent structure of the ANC, which will then make a determination on what becomes there. Because you will know that the recall and installation of premiers does not really fall within the province of the NWC. It would be a preserve of the National Executive Committee, which is meant to sit this month still. It will express itself and be able to communicate its position to the public.
Okay. Are you able to tell us when that NWC is going to sit, Pule?
Well, you are likely to have an NWC just after next week. And then after that NWC, you would then have a National Executive Committee which will be able to process all of the issues that the NWC shall have processed on. You will remember that the highest decision-making body of the African National Congress, in between conferences, is the National Executive Committee.
NEC,
What the NWC does, it deals with the day-to-day running of the organization. So it had made a recommendation for that meeting to take place. From what we understand, the meeting has taken place. I'm sure that the next working committee would be able to get a report and reflect on the feedback and make a determination on how it packages its own feedback to the NEC. Then the NEC would deliberate on the matter and ultimately will be able to communicate.
But then, Pule, maybe explain to us what this leave of absence for the Premier actually means if the NWC and the NEC is still to deliberate on the final course of action.
Well, I can say, look, the fact that the NWC had requested that there should be a meeting between the officials and the Premier or Chairperson of the province, and that meeting has taken place, it is only fair that we allow either the next NWC or the next NEC to be able to sit, and at that point we convey a decision. Otherwise, we'll all be making different preemptive strikes. You know, as it relates to what shall have been advanced by the chair of the province and all of that, I'm sure that the structure of the ANC in that province has been able to convey and communicate its own position on the matter. We will be able to receive a report, and the NEC will be able to effectively provide direction on these issues.
You know, Pule, the EFF has, of course, joined the fray in this matter, saying that they're threatening legal action over this very same issue that I was seeking clarity on what this leave of absence actually entails for the Premier. Please speak to us about that.
Well, I wouldn't be in a position to deliberate on matters that are still yet to be discussed by the organization, because I do not hold such a brief. The brief I hold is to be able to communicate to yourselves on the decisions of the structures of the ANC. And in this instance, my role is to make sure that I emphasize and restate the position of the NWC. I'll tell you what happened. There was a challenge that after our NWC, for the first time, we were convened to an NEC by media reports, because, I mean, we learned in the media that we're going to have a special NEC. So
it wasn't part of the ruling party's plans?
Because ordinarily, if we are to have such meetings, from a point of view of the Department of Information and Publicity, we will issue a statement that invites the media contingent to do either doorstep interviews and effectively just take pictures of the National Executive Committee. So we had not done that. I mean, ordinarily, when you sit an NEC, we will make sure that you guys are effectively, you are in tow.
Involved, yeah.
You are part of our NEC credentials. So when we sit an NEC outside, there will always be media.
All right. So, Pule, let me get this straight. At this moment, the NWC nor the NEC has, of course, pronounced that the Premier be recalled, and he remains Premier up until such a time he comes back from, of course, the deliberations.
Well, I think that what we ought to acknowledge is that there are developments in the province. The Provincial Executive Committee has pronounced itself in the manner that it has done. I'm sure that we in the structures of the ANC would be getting those reports. We will get feedback from the officials on what has been the outcomes of their own engagements. But what I can tell you is that we are doing everything possible, well within our authority, to make sure that we return that province to levels of stability.
And speaking of stability, a lot of speculation arrived, Pule, that this might dent the ANC's performance in the upcoming elections, should this matter not be settled in an ethical manner.
That's why it is important that each and every action we take, whatever efforts that we are putting on the ground, we also communicate those to the people of the province.
Okay.
It is important because, you see, there are many other things that the ANC is seized with and it is supposed to be seen resolving. I was actually talking to the Deputy Secretary General just yesterday on the need to make sure that many other societal issues. I mean, there was an attack of a mosque in Verulem.
Yeah.
You know, there's been this femicide, these killings of women and children. So these things require that we are seen to be carrying forward campaigns that inspire hope. And we are hoping that the leadership is doing all it can to return the province of the Northwest to levels of stability so that it fully discharges its role of leading society, even across all the other 8 provinces. But beyond that, it is also seen to be taking charge of many other topical issues like the Verulam issues, because we must be seen to also protecting all different religions. I mean, people must feel that in this country they all belong.
Absolutely. Pule, before I let you go, let's turn to this now. There has been some reports that have implicated you in a tender scandal in the Northwest. What do you want to say to us about that? Well,
I wouldn't want to use a platform where I'm expected to speak for the ANC and find myself having to deal with those kind of issues. Because there's a process to deal with that. One of what is already happening, there's a process of the press ombudsman that begins to deal with a number of inaccuracies.
So it's not directly
So
linked.
I would not want to be distracted from the execution of my own responsibility, because ANC is a very big brand, it's bigger than me.
Yes.
So I can't in any way be seen to be abusing the platform of the ANC to then take a detour and begin dealing with issues that really affect.
Pule.
Yes, of course. I am providing that clarity, but all I'm giving a preamble, and the preamble is that there is the ombudsman. There are matters that have been referred to the ombudsman, which have got to do with inaccuracies in the said article. There is a statement that I had issued in my personal capacity, beginning to deal with those issues. The ANC is a strong brand. It has got a strong critical membership.
True.
So whatever we do, we must be seen to be respecting the members who have, for these 5 years, given us that mantle of leading them.
Pule, I'll accept your answer for now. Thank you so much for joining us this
Thanks.
afternoon. That is the NC's national spokesperson, Mr. Pule Mabe, giving us the latest on the Northwest saga.